by a well in the land of her ancestors. A young woman's act of extraordinary kindness set in motion a divine love story. Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, became the chosen wife for Isaac, the son of promise. Her life, marked by decisive faith and later by manipulative favoritism, reveals the complex interplay of human choice and God's sovereign plan within the covenant family. Now, 5 detailed facts about Rebekah. 1. The woman of kindness at the well. Rebekah's story begins with a providential test. Abraham's servant, sent to find a wife for Isaac, prayed for a sign. The right woman would offer to water his 10 camels. Rebekah not only gave him a drink but eagerly volunteered the exhausting task of drawing water for all his camels. This act of exceptional kindness and strength revealed her character and confirmed God's choice. Genesis 24 verses 16 and 17, 19. 2. The willing bride of faith. When asked if she would leave her family immediately to marry a man she had never met, Rebekah's answer was simple and decisive: "I will go." Her willingness to embrace an unknown future demonstrated remarkable faith, aligning her life with God's unfolding promise to Abraham's family. Genesis 24 verse 58. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The mother who inquired of the Lord. After years of barrenness, Rebekah conceived twins who struggled violently within her. Unlike Isaac, who prayed for her, Rebekah went directly to inquire of the Lord herself. God revealed to her the destiny of her sons, 2 nations, with the oldest serving the younger, a prophecy that shaped her actions and the future of the covenant. Genesis 25 verse 23. 4. The architect of deception. Rebekah's maternal partiality for Jacob, coupled with a divine prophecy, led her to engineer the theft of Isaac's blessing. She overheard Isaac's plan to bless Esau, prepared the food, disguised Jacob, and assumed the curse upon herself. This act of deceit fractured the family, forcing Jacob to flee and leaving her without her favorite son for decades. Genesis 27 verses 8 and 13. 5. The unseen matriarch at the end. After ensuring Jacob's escape, Rebekah fades from the narrative. The Bible does not record her death or burial, though she is mentioned as being buried in the cave of Machpelah alongside Isaac. Her final years are marked by absence, a poignant consequence of the division she helped sow. Yet her legacy lived on through the son who carried the covenant promise. Genesis 49 verse 31. Rebekah's legacy is a study in contrasts: decisive faith and deceptive manipulation, divine insight and human scheming. She teaches us that God's sovereign plans are not negated by our flaws, but that acting outside of faith and integrity carries painful, lasting consequences for ourselves and our families. Her life reminds us to wait on God's timing rather than forcing outcomes, even with the best of intentions. To follow her journey, read Genesis 24 to 27. If her story of providence and perilous choices challenged you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the matriarchs of the Bible. Thank you for watching. As the waters of the Nile carried a secret hope, a young girl stood watch, becoming the first guardian of Israel's future deliverer. Miriam, the sister of Moses and Aaron, emerges as a foundational leader, a prophetess, a worshiper, and a complex figure whose life of great influence was also marked by human failings. Her story traces the arc of a nation, from slavery's brink to the desert's edge. Now, 5 detailed facts about Miriam. 1. The strategic guardian of the Nile. When Pharaoh's decree threatened the life of baby Moses, his mother placed him in a basket in the reeds. Miriam, his older sister, stationed herself at a distance to watch. When Pharaoh's daughter discovered the baby, Miriam boldly stepped forward with a brilliant suggestion: "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" This act secured Moses' safety, his connection to his family, and his place in the palace. Exodus 2 verses 4 and 7. 2. The prophetess of victory at the Red Sea. After God miraculously parted the Red Sea and destroyed Pharaoh's army, Miriam led the women of Israel in a responsive song of triumph. Taking a tambourine, she led them in dance and song, echoing the refrain of Moses' song: "Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted." This marks her as a leader of national worship. Exodus 15 verses 20 to 21. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The challenger of authority struck with leprosy. Later, Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of his Cushite wife, but their deeper grievance was a challenge to his unique authority. Has the Lord spoken only through Moses? They asked. God summoned them, affirmed Moses' unique prophetic role, and his anger burned against them. When the cloud of God's presence lifted, Miriam was leprous, a direct divine judgment on her rebellion. Numbers 12:1-2. 4. The interceded for sinner. Seeing Miriam's leprosy, Aaron immediately confessed their foolish sin to Moses. Moses then cried out to God with a short, desperate prayer. Please, God, heal her. This demonstrates Moses' incredible grace and his role as an intercessor, even for those who had just wronged him. Numbers 12:13. 5. The leader whose death halted the nation. Miriam died and was buried in Kadesh, in the desert of Zin. Her death is noted with significance, as it is immediately followed by the community's lack of water and their subsequent rebellion at Meribah. The text implies that her death marked the end of an era and was a profound loss for the traveling nation. Numbers 20:1. Miriam's legacy is multifaceted. She was a courageous protector, a celebratory worship leader, and a cautionary tale about the dangers of envy and challenging God-appointed authority. Her life reminds us that leadership requires both bold initiative and humble submission, and that God's grace covers even our gravest public failures when met with repentance. To explore her full story, read Exodus 2:15, Numbers 12:20. If her journey from protector to prophetess to penitent inspired you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the women of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the midst of a lengthy genealogy chronicling names and descendants, one name breaks the pattern with a story of pain transformed by prayer. Jabez, whose very name meant sorrow or pain, is memorialized not for his ancestry or deeds, but for a single, bold prayer that changed his destiny. His brief mention provides a timeless lesson on how faith can rewrite a life's narrative. Now, 5 detailed facts about Jabez. 1. A name that defined his beginning. Jabez's life began under a shadow of grief. His mother named him Jabez, saying, "I gave birth to him in pain." In ancient culture, a name was often prophetic, carrying a weight that could define a person's future. His name was a constant reminder of the sorrow that accompanied his arrival. 1 Chronicles 4:9. 2. The man who was more honorable than his brothers. Despite the difficult start, the scripture makes a deliberate distinction. Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. This indicates he rose above his circumstances and family reputation. His character was marked by a proactive pursuit of godliness, setting him apart from those around him. 1 Chronicles 4:9. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The prayer that sought divine intervention. Jabez refused to be defined by his name. He cried out to the God of Israel in a fourfold prayer, asking for blessing, territorial expansion, God's hand in his life, and protection from harm and pain. This was a direct petition for God to reverse the very meaning of his name and life trajectory. 1 Chronicles 4:10. 4. The specific petitions for blessing and boundaries. His prayer was specific and bold. "Oh, that you would bless me indeed." A plea for God's tangible favor. "Enlarge my territory." A request for greater influence and responsibility. "Let your hand be with me." A desire for God's guiding presence and power. "Keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain." A plea for protection from the physical and emotional sorrow his name implied. 1 Chronicles 4:10. 5. The God who granted his request. The record concludes with the powerful, simple statement, "And God granted his request." This is the core of Jabez's legacy. He is remembered not for a great victory in battle or prophetic utterance, but for the fact that he prayed earnestly and God answered. His story proves that sincere prayer can break generational patterns of pain. 1 Chronicles 4:10. Jabez's legacy is a powerful testament to the priority of prayer. He teaches us that our beginnings do not have to dictate our endings, that we can boldly ask God for blessing and purpose, and that a single cry of faith can capture the attention of heaven and alter the course of a life. His story encourages us to bring our deepest pains and highest hopes to a God who listens and acts. To read his inspiring, concise story, see 1 Chronicles 4 verses 9 to 10. If his example of transformative prayer inspired you, please like this video, share it as an encouragement to pray boldly, and subscribe for more profiles on the lesser-known figures of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the tranquil fields of Bethlehem, a story of unexpected romance and divine providence unfolds, centered on a man of unwavering integrity. Boaz, a wealthy landowner from the tribe of Judah, is more than just a romantic hero. He is a living embodiment of Hesed, the covenant faithfulness and loyal love of God. His actions weave together threads of kindness, redemption, and legacy, securing his place in the lineage of the Messiah. Now, 5 detailed facts about Boaz. 1. The kinsman redeemer of divine providence. Boaz was not just a random landowner. He was a Goel, a close kinsman redeemer to Naomi's family. This role, established by Mosaic law, required him to redeem family land that had been sold and to perpetuate the family name by marrying the widow of a deceased relative. His arrival in the story is a direct answer to Ruth's providential gleaning in his field. Ruth 2 verses 2 to 3. 2. The man of protective generosity. Upon discovering Ruth's identity and her loyalty to Naomi, Boaz immediately offered her extraordinary protection and provision. He commanded his men not to touch her, ensured she had ample water, and instructed them to intentionally leave extra grain for her to glean. He provided for her physical needs and safeguarded her dignity in a vulnerable situation. Ruth 2 verse 9. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The righteous man who honored the law. When Ruth, following Naomi's instructions, presented herself at the threshing floor, Boaz commended her for her noble character. However, he revealed there was a kinsman redeemer closer than he. He vowed to resolve the matter immediately and lawfully, demonstrating that his integrity would not allow him to bypass the proper legal and social order. Ruth 3 verses 12 to 13. 4. The redeemer who bought a future. At the city gate, the place of legal transactions, Boaz publicly presented the case to the closer redeemer. When that man declined the duty, Boaz declared before the elders his intention to redeem the land and to marry Ruth the Moabite to maintain the name of the dead. His redemption was complete, securing both property and progeny. Ruth 4 verses 9 to 10. 5. The ancestor in the Messianic line. The women of Bethlehem blessed Boaz, saying, "May your family be like that of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah." This blessing was profoundly fulfilled. Boaz and Ruth had a son, Obed, who was the father of Jesse, the father of King David. Thus, Boaz became a direct ancestor of Jesus Christ, the ultimate redeemer of God's people. Ruth 4 verse 17. Matthew 1 verses 5 to 6. Boaz's legacy is a beautiful foreshadowing of the gospel. He represents Christ, our ultimate kinsman redeemer, who sees us in our poverty, covers us with his protection, pays the full price to redeem us, and brings us into his family, granting us an eternal inheritance and a lasting name. To experience this story of redemption, read the book of Ruth. If Boaz's model of integrity and covenant love inspired you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the ancestors of Christ. Thank you for watching. In the bustling urban centers of the Roman Empire, a married couple became a dynamic powerhouse for the early church. Priscilla and Aquila, tent makers by trade and missionaries by calling, exemplify a life of radical hospitality, theological sharpness, and fearless partnership. They moved as a team, opening their home as a base for the gospel, mentoring future leaders, and risking their lives for the sake of the apostles. Now, 5 detailed facts about Priscilla and Aquila. 1. The tent-making partners of Paul. Forced to leave Rome by Claudius's edict, this Jewish couple settled in Corinth. There, they shared not only Paul's trade as tent makers, but also his passion for Christ. Their home and craft provided a natural bridge for ministry, supporting Paul financially and giving him a relational entry point into the city. Acts 18 verses 2 to 3. 2. The courageous risk-takers for an apostle. When Paul faced grave danger in the province of Achaia, Priscilla and Aquila didn't just offer prayers. They literally risked their necks for his life. This act of profound courage earned them the gratitude of all the Gentile churches and cemented their reputation as selfless, steadfast allies in the mission. Romans 16 verses 3-4. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The theological mentors to a mighty preacher. In Ephesus, they encountered Apollos, a brilliant and eloquent speaker who knew only the baptism of John. Recognizing both his zeal and his incomplete understanding, they took him aside privately and explained to him the way of God more adequately. Their gentle, precise discipleship equipped a key leader for greater effectiveness. Acts 18 verse 26. 4. The pioneers of house church ministry. Wherever they lived, Corinth, Ephesus, and later back in Rome, their home was the meeting place for the local church. They transformed their domestic space into a center for worship, teaching, and fellowship, modeling that the family unit is a primary engine for church planting and growth. Romans 16 verse 5. 5. The notable partnership with Priscilla, often first. In 4 of the 6 New Testament mentions, Priscilla's name appears before her husband's. This unusual order in a first-century context suggests she was particularly prominent, possibly due to higher social standing, exceptional giftedness, or a more active teaching role. It highlights a truly egalitarian ministry partnership. Romans 16 verse 3. Priscilla and Aquila's legacy is a blueprint for powerful Christian partnership. They teach us that marriage can be a strategic ministry team, that hospitality is a form of mission, that sound doctrine matters and should be taught with grace, and that the most effective work for the gospel often happens in homes and workplaces, not just pulpits. To see their ministry in action, read Acts 18, Romans 16, 1 Corinthians 16. If their example of faithful partnership inspired you, please like this video, share it with another couple or ministry team, and subscribe for more profiles on the New Testament's foundational figures. Thank you for watching. In a time of national apostasy under the wicked King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, a solitary figure emerged as a fiery defender of Yahweh's covenant. Elijah the Tishbite, whose name means "My God is Yahweh," was a prophet of sudden appearances, dramatic confrontations, and divine fire. His life swung between spectacular public victories and deep private despair, culminating in a miraculous departure that left an enduring legacy of prophetic hope. Now, 5 detailed facts about Elijah. 1. The prophet who declared a drought. Elijah burst onto the scene with a bold declaration to King Ahab. There would be no dew or rain for years except at his word. This was a direct challenge to Baal, the Canaanite storm god worshipped by Jezebel, proving that the Lord, not Baal, controlled the weather and the fertility of the land. God then hit Elijah by a brook and commanded ravens to feed him. 1 Kings 17 verse 1. 2. The victor on Mount Carmel. After 3 years of drought, Elijah orchestrated a dramatic showdown on Mount Carmel against 450 prophets of Baal. The test was simple. The God who answered by fire was the true God. After the prophets of Baal failed, Elijah drenched his altar with water and prayed. God sent fire from heaven that consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water, leading the people to declare, "The Lord, He is God." 1 Kings 18 verses 38-39. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The man who heard God in a whisper. Fleeing Jezebel's death threat, Elijah collapsed in exhaustion and despair in the wilderness, asking God to take his life. After being strengthened by food, he traveled to Mount Horeb. There, God revealed himself not in a wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a gentle whisper of still, small voice. This intimate encounter redirected his mission and renewed his perspective. 1 Kings 19 verses 12-13. 4. The mentor who appointed his successor. On God's instruction, Elijah found Elisha plowing a field. He threw his cloak, the symbol of his prophetic office, over him. Elisha immediately understood the call, left everything, and became Elijah's attendant. This act of passing the mantle ensured the continuation of the prophetic ministry God had begun. 1 Kings 19 verse 19. 5. The prophet taken to heaven in a whirlwind. Elijah's earthly ministry ended uniquely. As he and Elisha walked, a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared, separating them, and Elijah was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. His mantle fell to Elisha, signifying the transfer of a double portion of his spirit. This departure made Elijah a figure of future hope, prophesied to return before the great and dreadful day of the Lord. 2 Kings 2 verse 11. Elijah's legacy is one of fiery zeal and human frailty, showing that God uses passionate, emotional people to accomplish his purposes. He teaches us that spiritual victory can be followed by deep depression, that God often speaks most clearly in the quiet, and that he faithfully provides both for our needs and for the future of his work through mentorship. To experience his dramatic story, read 1 Kings 17-19 and 2 Kings 2. If his journey from fire to whisper inspired you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the great prophets of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In an era of oppression, a man was born with a destiny of power and a fatal flaw. Samson, the Nazirite judge of Israel, was a paradox of supernatural strength and profound moral weakness. His life is a turbulent epic of squandered potential, divine patience, and a final, devastating act of redeemed purpose, showing that God's sovereignty can work even through our brokenness. Now, 5 detailed facts about Samson. 1. The Nazirite from birth. Samson's life was marked by a sacred vow before his birth. An angel announced he would be a Nazirite, set apart to God from the womb. This meant he was never to cut his hair, drink alcohol, or touch anything unclean. His unparalleled physical strength was directly tied to his consecration and the Spirit of the Lord coming upon him. Judges 13 verse 5. 2. The champion of personal vendettas. Samson's judgeship was highly personal, not national. His acts of deliverance often sprang from personal revenge, not strategic leadership. He killed 30 Philistines for their garments to pay a debt, burned their fields with torches tied to foxes after his wife was given away, and killed 1,000 with a donkey's jawbone after they killed his wife and father-in-law. Judges 15 verse 16. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The man of strength weak to temptation. Samson's greatest enemy was not the Philistine army, but his own lust. He demanded a Philistine wife, visited a prostitute in Gaza, and finally fell for Delilah. Each relationship compromised him and led him deeper into Philistine territory, illustrating how spiritual compromise makes us vulnerable to our enemies. Judges 16 verse 4. 4. The betrayal and loss of his strength. Delilah, bribed by Philistine lords, persistently nagged Samson to reveal the secret of his strength. After 3 false answers, he finally confessed it lay in his uncut Nazirite hair. While he slept, she had his head shaved. The Lord departed from him, and he was captured, blinded, and enslaved, a picture of spiritual strength lost through willful disobedience. Judges 16 verse 20. 5. The final prayer and sacrificial death. In his humiliation, Samson's hair began to grow back. At a Philistine festival, he was brought out as entertainment. Leaning against the 2 central pillars of the temple, he prayed his most God-centered prayer, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." God answered, and in his death, he killed more than in his life. Judges 16 verses 28 and 30. Samson's tragic story is a powerful lesson in the peril of giftedness without character. He teaches us that God's calling is irrevocable, but that our choices have severe consequences. His life ultimately points to God's patient, redemptive grace, which can harness even our final, desperate act of faith to fulfill his greater purposes. To walk through his dramatic life, read Judges 13-16. If this study in strength and weakness challenged you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the Judges of Israel. Thank you for watching. From the slave pits of Egypt to the newly consecrated tabernacle in the wilderness, Aaron stands as a foundational yet deeply flawed figure. Appointed as the first high priest of Israel, he was both the eloquent voice for his brother Moses and the weak leader who gave in to the people's idolatry. His life is a complex study in divine calling, human frailty, and the grace that establishes a priesthood in spite of its imperfect representatives. Now, 5 detailed facts about Aaron. 1. The appointed mouthpiece for Moses. When Moses protested his own lack of eloquence, God appointed Aaron, his older brother, as his prophet and spokesman. Aaron would speak to the people and to Pharaoh for Moses, acting as his mouth, while Moses would be like God to him. This partnership made Aaron instrumental in demanding Israel's freedom and performing the initial signs before Pharaoh. Exodus 4 verses 15 to 16. 2. The maker of the golden calf. During Moses' prolonged absence on Mount Sinai, the people grew restless. Pressured by them, Aaron disastrously capitulated. He collected their gold, fashioned it into a calf idol, and declared, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." This act of spiritual betrayal nearly destroyed the nation and forever marred his legacy. Exodus 32 verse 4. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The first high priest of Israel. Despite his grave sin, God, in his grace, confirmed Aaron and his sons as the hereditary priesthood. Aaron was consecrated in an elaborate 7-day ceremony, clothed in sacred garments representing the people before God. His role was to offer sacrifices, make atonement, and bear the names of the tribes on his shoulders and heart before the Lord. Exodus 28 verse 1. 4. The rod that budded as divine vindication. When Aaron's priestly authority was challenged by Korah and others, God performed a miraculous sign to settle the dispute. 12 staffs, one for each tribe with Aaron's name on Levi's, were placed before the ark overnight. Aaron's staff alone budded, blossomed, and produced almonds, proving God had chosen him and his house for the priesthood. Numbers 17:8. 5. The death on Mount Hor. Because of his disobedience at the waters of Meribah, where he and Moses failed to honor God as holy, Aaron was not permitted to enter the promised land. On God's command, Moses led Aaron and his son Eleazar up Mount Hor. There, Moses transferred the high priestly garments to Eleazar, and Aaron died on the mountain, mourned by all Israel. Numbers 20:28. Aaron's legacy is one of gracious calling and sobering warning. He shows us that God equips and uses imperfect people for sacred tasks, but that leadership requires courage to resist popular sin. His life underscores that the priesthood, and ultimately our access to God, depends not on the perfection of the priest, but on the grace and calling of God, perfectly fulfilled in Jesus, our great high priest. To trace his full story, read Exodus 4:28, 32, Leviticus 8-9, Numbers 16-17, 20. If this study in flawed priesthood resonated with you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the leaders of Israel. Thank you for watching. In a lineage marked by long lives and eventual death, one man's story breaks the pattern entirely. Enoch, the seventh from Adam, appears briefly in Genesis like a bright, mysterious flash across a darkening sky. His life stands as a profound testament to intimate friendship with God, a walking so close that he simply transitioned from this world to the next without experiencing death. Now, 5 detailed facts about Enoch. 1. The man who walked with God. The defining characteristic of Enoch's life is summed up in a simple, profound phrase. Enoch walked faithfully with God. This walk implies a consistent, close, and obedient relationship, a life of daily communion and alignment with God's will. In an age descending into corruption, this daily fellowship was his distinction. Genesis 5 verse 22. 2. A life cut short by earthly standards. In the genealogy of Genesis 5, where every other patriarch is noted for living hundreds of years and then dying, Enoch's record is stunningly different. He lived 365 years, a number symbolically complete in the ancient world, and then he was no more, because God took him away. His earthly life was complete on God's timetable, not death's. Genesis 5 verses 23-24. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The Prophet of Judgment. The New Testament book of Jude reveals that Enoch was also a prophet. He prophesied about the Lord coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones to judge everyone and convict all the ungodly of their ungodly acts. This shows his walk with God gave him insight into future judgment as well as present grace. Jude 1 verses 14-15. 4. pleasing God by faith. The book of Hebrews uses Enoch as a premier example of living by faith. It states that before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. The author then makes the critical connection. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. Enoch's walking with God was the visible expression of his invisible faith. Hebrews 11 verse 5. 5. The hope of translation, not death. Enoch's departure, being taken by God, provides a powerful paradigm of hope. He did not die. He was translated directly into God's presence. This rare event, shared only with Elijah in the Old Testament, foreshadows the promised future translation of living believers of the return of Christ, offering a hope that death is not the final word for the faithful. Hebrews 11 verse 5. Enoch's legacy is one of intimate relationship and transcendent hope. He teaches us that a life of consistent fellowship with God is possible even in a corrupt generation, that such a life is profoundly pleasing to God, and that the ultimate destination of that faithful walk is God's own glorious presence, bypassing the sting of death entirely. To see his unique place in biblical history, read Genesis 5 verses 21 to 24 and Hebrews 11 verses 5 to 6. If his example of a life walked with God inspired you, please like this video, share it as a reminder of the power of daily faith, and subscribe for more profiles on the faithful of the Bible. Thank you for watching. Amidst the rolling hills of Judah, a prophet arose not from the royal courts of Jerusalem, but from a small agricultural town. Micah of Moresheth was a contemporary of Isaiah, bringing a message that swung like a hammer between scathing judgment and breathtaking hope. He spoke with raw clarity to both the northern and southern kingdoms, exposing the corruption of the powerful and proclaiming a future where God's peace would reign from a humble village. Now, 5 detailed facts about Micah. 1. The prophet of the common people. Micah hailed from Moresheth Gath, a small town in the Judean foothills. This rural origin shaped his perspective. He spoke as a voice for the oppressed peasant farmers against the corrupt urban elites in Samaria and Jerusalem. He saw firsthand the exploitation of the poor by wealthy landowners and corrupt judges. Micah 1 verse 1. 2. The fearless critic of social injustice. Micah delivered one of the Bible's most blistering indictments of systemic sin. He condemned leaders who hatched evil by night, coveting fields and seizing them, oppressing families for their homes. His prophecy highlights that true religion cannot coexist with the exploitation of the vulnerable. Micah 2 verses 1 to 2. 3. The definitive summary of true religion. In a passage that cuts through all ritual pretense, Micah posed the question of what God truly requires. His answer is a timeless masterpiece of ethical monotheism, not endless sacrifices, but to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. This triad remains the benchmark for genuine faith. Micah 6 verse 8. 4. The prophet of Bethlehem's greatness. From the ashes of judgment, Micah gave one of the most precise and hopeful messianic prophecies. He foretold that the future, eternal ruler of Israel would come not from Jerusalem, but from the small, seemingly insignificant clan of Judah and Bethlehem Ephrathah, a prophecy directly cited regarding Jesus' birth. Micah 5 verse 2. 5. The visionary of universal peace. Micah's ultimate hope looked beyond judgment to a glorious restoration. He envisioned a time when nations would stream to God's mountain to learn his ways, and God would settle disputes. His famous image of swords beaten into plowshares depicts a transformed world of universal peace under the Lord's reign. Micah 4 verse 3. Micah's legacy is the legacy of moral clarity and divine hope. He teaches us that God holds nations accountable for how they treat the poor and powerless, that hard obedience matters more than ritual, and that ultimate hope rests in a coming king from the most humble of origins, who will establish a kingdom of perfect justice and peace. To engage with his powerful, concise prophecy, read the book of Micah. If his call to justice, mercy, and humility challenged you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the prophets of the Bible. Thank you for watching. From the womb, Jacob's life was defined by struggle, a striving for blessing that led him to deceive and be deceived. Yet, this flawed and tenacious man became the namesake of God's chosen nation, Israel. His journey is a profound saga of divine election, human cunning, personal transformation, and the unbreakable faithfulness of the God who wrestles with sinners to make them saints. Now, 5 detailed facts about Jacob. 1. The grasping heir of the promise. Jacob's name means he grasps the heel or he deceives, foreshadowing his nature. He emerged from the womb grasping his twin brother Esau's heel. Later, he exploited Esau's hunger to buy his birthright for a bowl of stew and, with his mother Rebekah's help, deceived their blind father Isaac to steal the covenant blessing, ensuring the promise passed to him. Genesis 25 verses 31 to 32. 2. The exile who encountered God at Bethel. Fleeing Esau's wrath, Jacob slept in the wilderness with a stone for a pillow. There, he dreamed of a ladder reaching to heaven with angels ascending and descending, and God stood above it, reaffirming the Abrahamic covenant to him personally. He named the place Bethel, House of God, marking his first direct encounter with the God of his fathers. Genesis 28 verses 12 to 13. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The deceiver deceived in Haran. Jacob met his match in his uncle Laban. After working 7 years to marry Rachel, he was tricked into marrying her older sister, Leah, and had to work another 7 for Rachel. He then spent 6 more years building his flocks through clever animal husbandry. This season taught him the bitterness of being on the receiving end of deception. Genesis 29 verse 25. 4. The wrestler who became Israel. On the night before reuniting with Esau, Jacob was left alone and wrestled all night with a divine man. He refused to let go without a blessing. The man touched his hip, crippling him, changed his name to Israel. He struggles with God, and blessed him. This crippling blessing marked his transformation from a self-reliant schemer to a God-dependent prince. Genesis 32 verse 28. 5. The patriarch who blesses amidst sorrow. In his old age in Egypt, Jacob, now Israel, blessed Pharaoh and, more importantly, his own sons and Joseph's 2 sons. His prophecies over the 12 tribes shaped Israel's future, foretelling the kingship of Judah and the scattering of Levi. He died in faith, asking to be buried in Canaan, affirming the promise of the land. Genesis 48 verses 15 to 16. Jacob's legacy is one of grace triumphing over natural character. He teaches us that God's promises are secured not by human cunning, but by his sovereign choice. His life shows that true blessing comes not from grasping, but from clinging to God in desperate dependence, even when it leaves us permanently marked and changed. To follow his epic journey, read Genesis 25 to 49. If his story of struggle and transformation inspired you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the foundational patriarchs of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the twilight of Israel's period of judges, a man sat at the spiritual center of the nation, presiding over a house in decay. Eli, the aged high priest and judge at Shiloh, represents a tragic failure of spiritual leadership, a man personally pious yet passively complicit, whose legacy was defined by his son's wickedness and God's irrevocable judgment on his household. Now, 5 detailed facts about Eli. 1. The priest who failed as a father. As high priest in Shiloh, Eli was responsible for Israel's spiritual welfare, yet he failed in his primary duty as a father. His sons, Hophni and Phinehas, served as priests but were scoundrels who abused their position, stealing sacrificial offerings and committing immorality at the tent of meeting. Eli rebuked them too lightly, prioritizing his son's comfort over God's honor. 1 Samuel 2 verses 22 to 24. 2. The mentor who nurtured a prophet. In stark contrast to his failure with his own sons, Eli successfully mentored the boy Samuel, whom his mother Hannah had dedicated to God. When God called Samuel in the night, it was Eli who, after 3 attempts, perceived it was the Lord and instructed Samuel how to respond, guiding him into his prophetic calling. 1 Samuel 3 verses 8 to 9. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The recipient of a severe prophetic judgment. An unnamed man of God delivered a chilling prophecy to Eli. Because he honored his sons above God by failing to restrain them, his priesthood would be cut off. His lineage would die in the prime of life, and God would raise up a faithful priest. This judgment highlighted that leaders are stewards, not owners, of their sacred trust. 1 Samuel 2 verse 30. 4. The leader who heard the fate of the ark. The prophecy's fulfillment began when Israel went to battle against the Philistines. Eli's sons brought the Ark of the Covenant to the battlefield as a magical talisman, and both were killed. When a messenger brought news of the defeat, his sons' deaths, and the Ark's capture, Eli, 98 years old, blind, and obese, fell backward from his seat and died of a broken neck. 1 Samuel 4 verse 18. 5. The symbol of a doomed priesthood. Eli's death marked the end of an era. His grandson, born to his daughter-in-law as she died in childbirth, was symbolically named Ichabod, meaning the glory has departed. Eli's house was judged to make way for a new priestly line, ultimately fulfilled in Zadok under David and, supremely, in Jesus Christ, the ultimate faithful high priest. 1 Samuel 4 verse 21. Eli's legacy is a sobering study in the cost of passive leadership. He teaches us that knowing God's ways is not enough. We must act on them with courage, especially within our own families. His story warns that tolerating sin in those under our care can lead to catastrophic consequences, making way for God to establish new leadership rooted in faithfulness. To examine his full story, read 1 Samuel 1-4. If this portrait of failed stewardship served as a warning, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the leaders of the Old Testament. Thank you for watching. In a small corner of the ancient world, a prophet is given a mission that clashes with his entire worldview. Jonah, a man of deep national pride and personal prejudice, is called to extend God's mercy to the very enemies of his people. His story is less about a giant fish and more about a stubborn heart, a relentless God, and the scandalous, boundless reach of divine grace. Now, 5 detailed facts about Jonah. 1. The prophet who fled from God's presence. When God commanded Jonah to go east to Nineveh, the capital of the brutal Assyrian Empire, Jonah immediately boarded a ship heading west to Tarshish, the known edge of the world. His flight was an attempt to physically escape from the presence and assignment of the Lord, a futile effort highlighting human defiance against divine will. Jonah 1 verse 3. 2. The unwilling witness who converted pagan sailors. Aboard the ship, a violent storm arose. While the terrified pagan sailors prayed to their gods, Jonah slept below deck. When the lot fell to Jonah, he confessed his faith in the God of heaven and sea. His testimony was so powerful that after reluctantly throwing him overboard, as Jonah himself demanded, the sailors feared the Lord, offered sacrifices, and made vows to him. Jonah 1 verses 15-16. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The prayer of thanksgiving from the depths. From inside the great fish, Jonah prayed a profound psalm of thanksgiving. He acknowledged his distress, cried out to God, and celebrated deliverance even before it was complete. This prayer reveals that Jonah knew and loved God's saving power intimately, yet still struggled to apply that same mercy to others. Jonah 2 verse 7. 4. The successful but bitter preacher. After being delivered, Jonah obeyed and preached in Nineveh. His message was simple and dire: 40 more days and Nineveh will be overthrown. Against all odds, the entire city, from the king to the commoners, believed God, repented in sackcloth and ashes, and turned from their evil ways. Jonah 3 verses 4-5. 5. The prophet angry at God's compassion. When God relented from destroying Nineveh, Jonah was furious. He confessed that this was why he initially fled. He knew God was a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love. Sitting outside the city, he cared more for a withered plant that gave him shade than for the eternal destiny of 120,000 people. Jonah 4 verse 2. Jonah's story is a mirror for our own hearts. It challenges our prejudices, exposes our reluctance to share God's grace with those we deem undeserving, and questions what we value most. It ends with God's poignant question hanging in the air, asking us, as it asked Jonah, "Shouldn't I have concern for this great world?" To experience this short but profound book, read Jonah. If this story of divine persistence and human stubbornness challenged you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the prophets of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the rugged wilderness of Carmel, a story unfolds of shocking ingratitude, swift vengeance, and divine intervention. Nabal, whose very name means fool, was a man of great wealth but profound folly. His life stands as a stark biblical warning that prosperity without wisdom, character, or reverence for God is a recipe for disaster, and that God himself will defend his chosen ones against the arrogant. Now, 5 detailed facts about Nabal. 1. The fool by name and nature. Nabal's name was a fitting description of his character. In the cultural context, his name meant fool, not in an intellectual sense, but in the biblical sense of one who is morally corrupt and lies as if God does not exist. His wife Abigail even admitted to David, "As his name is, so is he." 1 Samuel 25 verse 3. 2. The ungrateful beneficiary of David's protection. While hiding from King Saul, David and his men operated in the region where Nabal's shepherds tended his vast flocks. David's men provided a protective wall against marauders, ensuring none of Nabal's sheep was stolen. When shearing time, a time of feasting and hospitality, arrived, David rightfully and politely requested provisions as a reward for this protection. 1 Samuel 25 verse 9. Like, share, comment and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The insulting rebuff that provoked war. Nabal responded with contempt, feigning ignorance of David's identity and insulting him as a runaway servant. He selfishly hoarded his bounty, asking, "Why should I take my bread and water and give it to men coming from who knows where?" This arrogant and foolish reply ignored the social custom of reciprocity and directly provoked David's wrath. 1 Samuel 25 verses 10 to 11. 4. The unwitting catalyst for Abigail's wisdom. Nabal's foolishness set in motion the courageous and wise actions of his wife, Abigail. Upon hearing of his insolence, she acted swiftly and independently to avert the disaster he had created. She gathered a lavish gift of food and went to intercept David, whose rage had led him to vow to kill every male in Nabal's household. 1 Samuel 25 verse 14. 5. The man struck by God. After Abigail's intervention saved his household, she returned home to find Nabal holding a kingly feast, drunk and oblivious to the danger he had caused. She wisely waited until morning to tell him. When she did, his heart failed him and he became like a stone. About 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal and he died, a direct divine judgment for his wickedness and folly. 1 Samuel 25 verses 37 to 38. Nabal's story is a sobering lesson in the folly of arrogance and ingratitude. He represents the person who lives for self, ignores God's anointed, and reaps the consequences. His brief narrative highlights the stark contrast between human foolishness and God's providential care, showing that the Lord will both vindicate the righteous and judge the scoffer in his own perfect time. To read the full account of his folly and Abigail's wisdom, see 1 Samuel 25. If this study in contrasting characters served as a warning, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the figures of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the bustling hub of the early church in Jerusalem, a young man from a well-known family began a journey of failure, restoration, and profound usefulness. John Mark, often simply called Mark, authored the earliest and most action-packed gospel, becoming a vital bridge between the eyewitness testimony of Peter and the written record that would shape the world's understanding of Jesus. Now, 5 detailed facts about Mark. 1. The son of a Jerusalem hostess. Mark grew up in a prominent Jerusalem household. His mother, Mary, owned a home large enough to host prayer meetings for the early church, even during persecution. This house was likely the site of the Last Supper and became a central hub for believers, meaning Mark was immersed in the core of Christian fellowship from the very beginning. Acts 12 verse 12. 2. The companion who initially turned back. Mark joined his cousin Barnabas and Paul on their first missionary journey as their assistant. However, partway through, he left them in Pamphylia and returned to Jerusalem. The reason is not stated, but this desertion caused such a sharp disagreement later that Paul and Barnabas split, with Barnabas giving Mark a second chance. Acts 13:13, 15:37-38. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The restored and trusted co-worker. Despite his early failure, Mark did not remain sidelined. Under Barnabas's mentorship, he was restored to fruitful ministry. Years later, Paul, while imprisoned, specifically asked for Mark's help, calling him very useful to me in my ministry. This marks a complete reconciliation and a testament to Mark's growth and dependability. 2 Timothy 4 verse 11. 4. The scribe for Peter's memoirs. Ancient church tradition unanimously holds that Mark was the close companion and interpreter of the Apostle Peter in Rome. His gospel is essentially the written record of Peter's first-hand preaching, vivid, fast-paced, and focused on the powerful actions of Jesus as the suffering servant and mighty Son of God. Early church testimony from Papias. 5. The author of the action-packed gospel. Mark's gospel is characterized by its immediacy, using the word immediately over 40 times. It presents Jesus as a man of powerful action and authority, constantly on the move. It uniquely highlights Jesus' servanthood, culminating in the key verse, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to save, and to give his life as a ransom for many." Mark 10 verse 45. Mark's legacy is one of redemption and faithful service. He teaches us that an early failure does not define a lifetime of ministry, that mentorship and second chances are invaluable, and that God can use our unique perspective, even a fast-paced, vivid one, to powerfully communicate the story of Jesus to the world. To read his dynamic account of Christ, start with the Gospel of Mark. If his story of restoration and usefulness inspired you, please like this video, share it to encourage someone who needs a second chance, and subscribe for more profiles on the gospel writers and early disciples. Thank you for watching. In the quiet pastures of Bethlehem, a man of no royal title or historic fame became the root of Israel's greatest dynasty and the line of the Messiah. Jesse, a humble farmer from the tribe of Judah, is remembered almost exclusively for his son, David. Yet, his life underscores a profound biblical theme. God often chooses the unseen and overlooked to fulfill his most glorious purposes. Now, 5 detailed facts about Jesse. 1. The Bethlehemite of the line of Judah. Jesse was a resident of Bethlehem from the tribe of Judah, a lineage of great significance. He was the grandson of Ruth and Boaz, placing him squarely in the line of promise that would lead to King David and, ultimately, to Jesus Christ. His humble, agrarian life stood in contrast to the royal destiny that would spring from his family. 1 Samuel 17 verse 12. 2. The father whose sons were presented before Samuel. When God rejected Saul as king, he sent the prophet Samuel to Bethlehem to anoint one of Jesse's sons as the new king. Jesse obediently presented his 7 eldest sons, each impressive in stature. Samuel assumed the Lord's chosen would be among them, but God repeatedly rejected them, emphasizing that he looks at the heart, not outward appearance. 1 Samuel 16 verse 10. Like, share, comment and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The one who overlooked the youngest son. After all 7 older sons were rejected, Samuel asked, "Are these all the sons you have?" Jesse's reply reveals that David, the youngest, was so overlooked he wasn't even considered part of the initial selection. He was tending the sheep, a task deemed unimportant. Jesse's oversight highlights how God's chosen vessel is often undervalued by human estimation. 1 Samuel 16 verse 11. 4. The provider of simple provisions for a giant battle. When the Philistines gathered against Israel, Jesse's 3 eldest sons followed Saul to war. Concerned for them, Jesse sent David, who was back with the flock, to the battle lines with simple provisions, roasted grain, bread, and cheese for his brothers and their commander. This humble errand became the doorway for David's destiny-defining confrontation with Goliath. 1 Samuel 17 verse 17. 5. The root of the Messianic line. Jesse's greatest legacy is prophetic. The prophet Isaiah foretold that the Messiah would come from the stump of Jesse, a symbol of hope and new life springing from what seemed cut down or forgotten. This title for Jesus emphasizes both his humble human lineage from David's father and his divine role as a shoot of new creation. Isaiah 11 verse 1. Jesse's story teaches us that significance in God's kingdom is not about personal fame, but about faithful stewardship in obscurity. He was the faithful root from which a royal branch would grow. His life reminds us that God's plans are perfected through ordinary families and that the most important person in the room might be the one everyone else forgot to call in from the field. To see the moment his son was chosen, read 1 Samuel 16. If this story of the overlooked father of a king inspired you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the foundational families of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the final, turbulent years of the northern kingdom of Israel, God sent a prophet whose life became a living parable of divine heartbreak and relentless love. Hosea's ministry was not merely in his words but in his wounds. His own broken marriage became the canvas on which God painted a stunning portrait of his covenant love for an unfaithful people. Now, 5 detailed facts about Hosea. 1. The prophet whose life was his message. God's first command to Hosea was shockingly personal. Go, take to yourself an adulterous wife. Hosea married Gomer, a woman known for promiscuity, as a prophetic act. Their marriage symbolized God's covenant relationship with Israel, a people spiritually prostituting themselves by chasing after other gods and political alliances instead of remaining faithful to the Lord. Hosea 1 verse 2. 2. The children who were walking prophesies. Hosea and Gomer had 3 children, each named as a divine message of coming judgment and sorrow. Jezreel, God scatters; Lo-Ruhamah, not loved; and Lo-Ammi, not my people. These heartbreaking names declared God's impending judgment on Israel's dynasty and his withdrawal of blessing, yet they also set the stage for a future, dramatic reversal. Hosea 1 verses 4 and 6, 8-9. Like, share, comment and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The unveiling of God's betrayed heart. Hosea's prophecy uniquely reveals the emotional heart of God. The Lord is not a distant, impersonal judge, but a betrayed husband, a wounded lover. He speaks of Israel's idolatry as adultery, expressing profound grief, jealousy, and righteous anger, showing that sin is primarily a violation of a loving relationship. Hosea 2 verses 13 and 5. 4. The command to love the unlovable. After Gomer left Hosea for other lovers and seemingly fell into slavery, God commanded Hosea to go and love her again. Hosea had to buy her back, redeeming her for a price. This agonizing command was a direct picture of God's unconditional, redeeming love for Israel, and ultimately, for all sinners. Hosea 3 verses 1-2. 5. The promise of ultimate restoration. Despite the searing warnings, Hosea's book concludes with one of the most beautiful promises of restoration in Scripture. God promises to allure Israel back, speak tenderly to her, and transform the valleys of trouble into doors of hope. He vows to reverse the children's names. Not my people will become my people, and not love will become loved. Hosea 2 verse 23. Hosea's legacy is the legacy of a love that will not let us go. He shows us the true cost of our sin against God and the even greater depth of God's redeeming grace. His life and message assure us that even in our deepest unfaithfulness, God's love remains covenantal, pursuing, and ultimately restorative. To immerse yourself in this profound story of love and redemption, read the book of Hosea. If this portrait of God's faithful love moved you, please like this video, share it as a reminder of relentless grace, and subscribe for more profiles on the prophets of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the wake of a fallen dynasty, a forgotten prince lived in obscurity, bearing the scars of a nation's turmoil. Mephibosheth, the lame grandson of King Saul, became the living testament to a covenant of friendship and a king's unexpected grace. His story is a powerful portrait of undeserved kindness, royal restoration, and the transformative power of loyalty in a fractured world. Now, 5 detailed facts about Mephibosheth. 1. The crippled prince in exile. Tragedy struck Mephibosheth when he was just 5 years old. Upon news of the deaths of his grandfather King Saul and his father Jonathan on Mount Gilboa, his nurse fled with him in panic. In her haste, she dropped him, and both his feet were crippled. He grew up in remote exile in Lo-Debar, a place whose name suggests no pasture or no word, a land of barrenness and obscurity. 2 Samuel 4 verse 4. 2. The object of David's covenant-keeping grace. Years later, King David, seeking to honor his sacred covenant of friendship with Jonathan, inquired if any of Saul's household remained. Summoned from Lo-Debar, Mephibosheth arrived in fear, expecting the fate typical of a former dynasty's heir. Instead, David showed him hesed, covenant-loving kindness, restoring all Saul's lands and granting him a permanent place at the king's own table. 2 Samuel 9 verse 7. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The humbled heir at the king's table. Mephibosheth's response to David's grace was profound humility. He referred to himself as a dead dog, acknowledging he had nothing to offer and no right to the king's favor. His place at David's table was not earned but bestowed, a daily picture of how grace elevates the unworthy to the status of sons. 2 Samuel 9 verse 8. 4. The slandered yet loyal subject. During Absalom's rebellion, David fled Jerusalem. Mephibosheth's servant, Ziba, met David with donkeys and provisions, falsely claiming his master stayed behind hoping to reclaim Saul's throne. David hastily granted Saul's estate to Ziba. Later, Mephibosheth met the returning king, unkempt from mourning, and professed unwavering loyalty, revealing Ziba's deceit. 2 Samuel 19 verse 28. 5. The restored beneficiary of the king's justice. When confronted with the conflicting stories, David issued a wise, if imperfect, judgment. The land would be divided between Ziba and Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth's profound reply revealed his true heart. He cared not for the property, but for the king's safe return and his continued fellowship at the table. 2 Samuel 19 verse 30. Mephibosheth's story is a stunning illustration of the gospel. A helpless heir, crippled by a fall, is sought out by a gracious king, restored to an unearned inheritance, and given a permanent seat at the royal table. His life teaches us about the power of covenant faithfulness, the humility grace produces, and the supreme value of relationship over possession. To explore this beautiful narrative of grace, read 2 Samuel 9 and 19. If his restoration from exile to the king's table moved you, please like this video, share it as a picture of undeserved kindness, and subscribe for more profiles on the lesser-known figures of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the glittering, treacherous courts of a vast Persian empire, a hidden queen faced an impossible choice. Esther, a young Jewish orphan thrust onto the throne, became God's secret agent for such a time as this. Her story is a masterful narrative of divine providence, hidden identity, and the courageous risk that saves a nation, demonstrating how God works through the willing to fulfill his sovereign promises. Now, 5 detailed facts about Esther. 1. The orphan queen with a hidden identity. Esther, originally named Hadassah, was a beautiful Jewish orphan raised by a cousin Mordecai in the Persian diaspora. After Queen Vashti was deposed, Esther was taken into the king's harem. Following a year of beauty treatments, she won the favor of King Xerxes and was crowned queen, all while keeping her Jewish nationality a secret on Mordecai's instructions. Esther 2 verse 7. 2. The decree of genocide and the call to courage. The king's vizier, Haman, enraged by Mordecai's refusal to bow, plotted to annihilate all Jews in the empire. A royal decree was issued. Mordecai implored Esther to intercede with the king, warning her that silence would not guarantee safety and declaring her divine purpose. Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Esther 4 verse 14. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The fateful banquets and the unveiling of a plot. Esther's strategy was one of wisdom and patience. She risked her life by approaching the king unsummoned, then invited him and Haman to not one, but 2 private banquets. At the second feast, she revealed her identity as a Jew and exposed Haman's genocidal plot, turning the king's fury upon the true enemy. Esther 7 verses 3 to 4. 4. The triumph of justice and the festival of Purim. Haman was executed on the gallows he built for Mordecai. The king could not revoke his first decree, but he empowered Esther and Mordecai to issue a new one, allowing the Jews to defend themselves. They triumphed over their enemies, and this victory was commemorated with the Feast of Purim, a festival of joyous celebration still observed today. Esther 9 verse 28. 5. The unseen hand of providence. Though the book of Esther never explicitly mentions God, his sovereign hand is evident in every coincidence. Esther's beauty, the king's favor, the king's sleeplessness leading him to read of Mordecai's loyalty, and Haman's arrival at the precise moment to be humiliated. The story teaches that God is powerfully at work behind the scenes, even when he seems most hidden. Esther 4 verse 7. Esther's legacy is one of providential purpose and courageous advocacy. She teaches us that God prepares and positions his people, that faith often requires risking our comfort and security, and that one person, yielded to God's timing and wisdom, can alter the destiny of many. Her story is a celebration of divine reversals and the preservation of God's people. To experience the full drama of her story, read the Book of Esther. If her courage and God's unseen providence inspired you, please like this video, share it as an encouragement for such a time as this, and subscribe for more profiles on the heroic women of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the dynamic, often tumultuous early church, a steady and resilient figure emerges as a vital bridge between Jewish and Gentile believers. Silas, also known as Silvanus, was a prophet, a trusted leader from Jerusalem, and a loyal companion who endured hardship with Paul to firmly establish the gospel across continents. His ministry exemplifies faithful partnership, joyful endurance, and the unifying power of the Spirit. Now, 5 detailed facts about Silas. 1. The Jerusalem leader and confirming voice. Silas was a leading man among the Jerusalem brothers, chosen to deliver the council's decisive letter to the Gentile believers in Antioch. This letter, resolving the circumcision controversy, affirmed salvation by grace alone. Silas, alongside Judas Barsabbas, was sent to verbally confirm this good news, demonstrating his role as a unifying authority figure. Acts 15 verse 22. 2. The chosen companion for Paul's second journey. After Paul and Barnabas parted ways, Paul chose Silas to be his new ministry partner for the second missionary journey. This selection was pivotal. Silas was a Roman citizen and a prophet whose credibility from Jerusalem lent weight to Paul's mission to the Gentiles, forming a new, powerful team for church planting. Acts 15 verse 40. Like, share, comment and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The imprisoned worshiper in Philippi. In Philippi, after exorcising a slave girl, Paul and Silas were severely beaten and thrown into prison. At midnight, instead of despairing, they prayed and sang hymns to God. Their worship and suffering led to a miraculous earthquake, the jailer's conversion, and the birth of the first European church. Acts 16 verse 25. 4. The co-author with Paul and Peter. Silas was not just a companion but a collaborator in writing scripture. He is likely the trusted Silvanus who served as Peter's scribe for his first letter. Paul also includes him as a co-sender in his letters to the Thessalonians, indicating Silas's role in teaching and establishing those churches. 1 Peter 5 verse 12. 5. The enduring fellow worker. Silas's partnership with Paul extended through intense trials in Thessalonica and Berea, where they faced mob violence and persecution. His steadfastness earned him the title Faithful Brother, and marked him as a foundational fellow worker in spreading the gospel to both Jews and Greeks throughout Macedonia and Achaia. Acts 18 verse 5. Silas's legacy is one of dependable partnership and resilient joy. He shows us that effective ministry is built on faithful collaboration, that worship is the most powerful response to suffering, and that God uses steady, trustworthy individuals to strengthen the message and unity of the entire church. To follow his journeys of faith and fortitude, read Acts 15 to 18. If his example of steadfast partnership inspired you, please like this video, share it to encourage a fellow worker, and subscribe for more profiles on the pillars of the early church. Thank you for watching. Amidst Israel's clamor to be like other nations, God gave them a king who perfectly embodied their own flawed ideals. Saul, a man of towering stature and humble beginnings, stands as the tragic prototype of human kingship. His story is a cautionary epic of unsteady faith, eroded obedience, and the devastating consequences of seeking God's results without submitting to God's heart. Now, 5 detailed facts about Saul. 1. The reluctant king, anointed in secret. Saul, a handsome and physically imposing Benjaminite, was sent to find his father's lost donkeys when God revealed his destiny. The prophet Samuel anointed him privately, declaring, "Has not the Lord anointed you ruler over his inheritance?" Initially humble, Saul even hid among the baggage when chosen publicly by Lot, showing a conflicted reluctance toward his calling. 1 Samuel 10 verse 1. 2. The victory that established his reign. Saul's first major test came when the Ammonites threatened the city of Jabesh Gilead. The Spirit of God came powerfully upon him, and he mustered an army, securing a decisive victory. This act of national rescue unified the people behind him, leading to his public coronation and establishing his legitimacy as king. 1 Samuel 11 verse 11. 3. The fatal disobedience at Gilgal. Saul's downfall began with a critical act of impatient disobedience. Facing the Philistines at Gilgal, he grew fearful as his army scattered and Samuel was delayed. He unlawfully offered the burnt sacrifice himself, a duty reserved for priests. When confronted, he justified himself by blaming the people. Samuel delivered God's devastating verdict. His kingdom would not endure. 1 Samuel 13 verse 13. 4. The rejected king after Amalek. Saul's final rejection came when he disobeyed God's direct command to completely destroy the Amalekites and all their possessions. He spared King Agag and kept the best livestock, again justifying it as an act of worship. Samuel's rebuke was immortal. To obey is better than sacrifice. God's favor was irrevocably transferred to a man after his own heart, David. 1 Samuel 15 verse 22. 5. The tormented rival of David. After David's victory over Goliath, Saul was gripped by a harmful spirit and paralyzing jealousy. He saw God's blessing had left him and rested on David. His reign devolved into a paranoid, years-long pursuit to kill David, driving God's chosen future king into exile and turning his own energy away from ruling Israel. 1 Samuel 18 verse 12. Saul's legacy is a solemn study in wasted potential. He teaches us that external calling and initial success are meaningless without a heart of sustained obedience. His life warns that pride, impatience, and jealousy will hollow out a leader, leaving only the shell of a position after the Spirit of God has departed. To trace the full arc of his tragic reign, read 1 Samuel 9-31. If this portrait of flawed leadership served as a warning, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the kings and rulers of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In a time of national crisis and spiritual decay, a voice thundered from the throne room of heaven. Isaiah, whose name means the Lord is salvation, served as God's royal prophet to Judah for over half a century. His ministry unveils the holiness of God, the certainty of judgment for sin, and the breathtaking promise of a suffering servant who would bring ultimate redemption for Israel and all nations. Now, 5 foundational facts about the prophet Isaiah. 1. The vision of God's holiness and call. Isaiah's prophetic career began with a life-shattering vision in the year King Uzziah died. He saw the Lord seated on a high throne, surrounded by seraphim crying, "Holy, holy, holy." Confronted with God's utter purity, Isaiah was undone by his own sinfulness. A seraph touched his lips with a burning coal, purifying him. And when God asked, "Whom shall I send?" Isaiah responded, "Here am I, send me." Isaiah 6 verse 8. 2. The prophet of the Messiah. Isaiah's prophecies provide the most comprehensive portrait of the coming Messiah in the Old Testament. He foretold his virgin birth, his character as Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, his healing ministry, and his atoning death as a sacrifice for sin. Jesus and the New Testament writers frequently quoted Isaiah to confirm his identity. Isaiah 7 verse 14. Like, share, comment and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The announcement of the suffering servant. The pinnacle of Isaiah's messianic prophecy is found in the 4 servant songs. The most profound describes a suffering figure who would be pierced for our transgressions and crushed for our iniquities. This prophecy, detailing substitutionary atonement, finds its perfect fulfillment in the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Isaiah 53 verse 5. 4. The voice of social justice and true religion. Isaiah relentlessly condemned empty ritual and social injustice. He declared that God despised religious festivals when accompanied by oppression. True worship, he taught, was to seek justice, defend the oppressed, and correct the orphan and plead for the widow. He called for faith that transformed society. Isaiah 1 verse 17. 5. The herald of comfort and a new creation. Following prophecies of judgment and exile, Isaiah's message shifts to profound comfort and future hope. He prophesied a return from Babylon and a future where God would create new heavens and a new earth. His book closes with a vision of universal peace and God's eternal kingdom, offering hope beyond immediate circumstances. Isaiah 40 verses 1 to 2. Isaiah's legacy is the bridge between God's holiness and human hope. He reveals that a holy God must judge sin, but in his great love, he provides the remedy through the Messiah. His prophecies assure us that God's redemptive plan is certain, his justice is sure, and his comfort is available to all who turn to him. To delve into his majestic prophecies, read the book of Isaiah. If his vision of God's holiness and promised Savior inspired you, please like this video, share it as a message of hope, and subscribe for more profiles on the great prophets of the Bible. Thank you for watching. In the 10 days of waiting between Christ's ascension and Pentecost, the apostles faced their first major decision, to restore the circle of 12. Among the many followers, one faithful but overlooked disciple was chosen to fill the vacancy left by betrayal. Matthias, whose name means gift of God, stands as a testament to unwavering, long-term faithfulness in God's sovereign choice through prayer and providence. Now, 5 detailed facts about Matthias. 1. The candidate of unwavering continuity. The primary qualification to replace Judas was consistent, first-hand discipleship from the beginning of Jesus' ministry, from John's baptism through the resurrection and ascension. Matthias and Joseph Barsabbas were both men who had followed Jesus for the entire 3-year journey, yet remained in the background of the gospel narratives. Acts 1 verses 21 to 22. 2. The witness to the resurrection. A key part of the apostolic mandate was to be a personal witness of the risen Christ. This was not second-hand information. It was a requirement of direct, empirical testimony. Matthias was among those who could personally attest, he is alive, making him a foundational witness for the early church. Acts 1 verse 22. Like, share, comment and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The subject of prayerful discernment, not human debate. The apostles did not campaign, debate merits, or vote based on personality. After establishing the scriptural necessity from the Psalms, they prayed for God's sovereign choice and then cast lots. This method, used before the indwelling of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost, sought to remove human preference and reveal God's direct will. Acts 1 verse 24. 4. The apostle chosen by God's sovereignty. The lot fell to Matthias, and he was added to the 11 apostles. The text emphasizes that this was God's choice, answering their specific prayer. His selection was a divine affirmation that God sees and honors quiet, faithful endurance, elevating it to a place of leadership at the proper time. Acts 1 verse 26. 5. The symbol of completed preparation. Matthias' appointment completed the foundational leadership of the New Testament church just before the Holy Spirit's empowering at Pentecost. The restored circle of 12 symbolically represented the renewed Israel, ready to become the pillars of the church. His inclusion signifies that God's work proceeds with a full complement of chosen instruments. Acts 2 verse 1. Matthias' legacy is one of faithful obscurity rewarded by divine selection. He teaches us that consistent, long-term fellowship with Christ is the greatest qualification for service, that God elevates the faithful in his perfect timing, and that the Lord completes his work with those who have been with him from the beginning. His story encourages every behind-the-scenes follower that their witness matters. To read the account of his selection, see Acts 1 verses 15 to 26. If his story of quiet faithfulness inspiring you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the apostles of the early church. Thank you for watching. In the pivotal story of Israel's patriarchs, a single marital choice set a painful trajectory for generations. Judith, a Hittite woman from Canaan, became the wife of Esau. And though she is a figure mentioned only briefly, her presence marked a profound spiritual and cultural crossroads. Her story is one of unintended consequences, highlighting the weight of decisions that affect family legacy and divine promise. 1. The disappointing choice of a son. Judith enters the biblical narrative as part of a dual marital decision by Esau that deeply grieved his parents, Isaac and Rebekah. By marrying 2 Hittite women, including Judith, Esau displayed a disregard for the spiritual heritage of his family, choosing wives from the Canaanite peoples whom God had set apart from his promise to Abraham. Genesis 26 verses 34 to 35. 2. A symbol of cultural assimilation. As a Hittite, Judith represented the indigenous Canaanite culture that God had warned would ensnare his people. Her marriage to Isaac's son symbolized a dangerous blending with nations that practiced idolatry. This act by Esau showed a preference for immediate cultural comfort over the preservation of a covenant identity, which was central to his parents' concerns. Deuteronomy 7 verses 3 to 4. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible facts and people. Check out People of the Bible in the playlist link in description. 3. The catalyst for a stolen blessing. The grief caused by Esau's marriages, including to Judith, directly influenced the pivotal event of the stolen blessing. Rebekah, despairing over her Hittite daughters-in-law, resolved that Jacob must not follow the same path. This maternal despair became a key motive in her plan to secure the family blessing for Jacob, forever altering the line of the covenant. Genesis 27 verse 46. 4. An unnamed legacy in later genealogies. While Judith is named in Genesis 26, her legacy fades in later biblical records. In subsequent genealogies of Esau's descendants, her name does not appear among the mothers of his tribal chiefs. This absence suggests her line may not have produced the prominent Edomite clans, highlighting how the choice she represented led to a diminished inheritance for Esau's descendants. Genesis 36 verses 40 to 43. 5. A contrast to the chosen line. Judith's story stands in stark contrast to the careful marital arrangements made for Isaac and Jacob. Abraham's servant sought a wife for Isaac from their own people, and Jacob married within the family line. Judith, therefore, serves as a narrative counterpoint, illustrating the spiritual peril and family strife that comes from disregarding the covenant when choosing a spouse. Genesis 28 verses 1 to 2. Judith's brief mention carries a lasting warning about the profound impact of our closest relationships on faith and legacy. Her story reminds us that choices made for companionship or convenience can inadvertently alienate us from spiritual heritage and cause deep pain, urging wisdom in matters of the heart and home. To understand the full context of her role in the patriarchal narrative, read Genesis 26 and 27. If this exploration of consequence and covenant inspired you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more profiles on the often overlooked figures of the Bible. Thank you for watching.